Do we have topics?
Yeah.
We do.
You don't have to worry about them.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I didn't plug any in.
Okay.
I didn't think of that actually.
Oh, this makes my life easy.
Yeah. I thought it posted when we were live on Facebook.
John, are the boys relieved or upset that the season's over?
I think it's a mixed bag of results. We played Rogers.
Yeah.
And they were the number one team in state. And I was telling Jack that they lost to Wayzata or got upset.
Yep.
But I think it's 50-50. I'm sure there's some kids who wanted to continue. The senior class, I think they always want to continue because it's probably the last time they get to play competitive hockey. But
We are live, so yeah, tell them what happened, Johns.
yeah. Well, while we're waiting for, I think we got 20 viewers right now, but my hockey coaching, not career, but my hockey coaching season has officially ended at the hands of the Rogers Royals. It was a battle of the Royals, and we
Was
lost.
it a Royal Rumble?
It was a Royal Rumble. It was tied after 1-1, and the wheels fell off, and the final score was 9-1. So, in high school hockey, in the third period, if you're down by 6 goals or more, it is running time, which is never fun.
Didn't it used to be 8?
I think it used to back in the
Okay.
day, and then I think you know how high school hockey can get. It can get a little chippy.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, we're live. I didn't even know where to look for a second there. Wild Wednesday edition of 10K TV. I think this is actually going to be more of a Team USA edition. We already got a comment in the chat, USA, 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 USA. I think I got them all right there. But, I mean, can we just give a quick round of fucking applause? Double gold medals. I mean, there's so much to get into, which we'll get into all of it. Let's start. You want to start on the women's side, Veach, since they
Please.
got it done first?
Please, absolutely.
I mean, I think the first thing we got to talk about is the goaltending.
Well, yeah.
Frankel, who I thought was Frankie up until about overtime, the entire tournament, had 2 goals allowed on 99 shots. That is fucking bananas.
You won't see a better goaltending stat line in any Olympics moving forward ever. Ever.
.39 GAA.
Insane.
Yeah.
That is actually insane. That's
Playing
like
Canada twice.
Yeah, Canada twice. That's like in baseball when a guy gets called up who is like 1 for 17 or like 1 for 7, and it's been sporadic in his career, and they're like, yeah, his batting average is it's like under 100, and you're like, how does that even happen? That was her goals allowed, but it was over the course of 5 games.
Yeah.
Is that like a 9.8 something save percentage? 9.76?
I was going through my quick math here. If there was one more shot against her, which I'm sure she's begging for somebody to just add one back to the stat sheets retroactively, then yeah, she saved 90 out of 100, which would be a 980. So yeah, it is like 976 or whatever. I'm going to give her the 980.
Do you think, truthfully, deep down, she's pissed she didn't save those 2 goals?
Yes.
One of them, probably one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the team didn't allow a single goal after the first period of the first game until the first period of the gold medal game, which is insane. I mean, I know they rotated in a couple other attendees. Phillips was insane. Another girl in that game got, I think, a couple minutes where she also was perfect. So, I mean, just bananas. Plays for the Boston Fleet in the PWHL. Someone to certainly look out for next time she's at the G Spot and we're all drinking Captain's Patch at the game. By the way, sold sections 105 and 115 C13. I know people are dying to get back to the Grand Casino Arena, but yeah, I mean, just insane goaltending by Team USA in both men's and women's.
Yeah, there was absolutely zero complaints about it. I think there was some questions going in as to how they would fare compared to the rest of the world. I think they were still going to be the favorites no matter what. It was just going to be a matter of how much of a favorite. And then when you go into the gold medal game with that much momentum and just that dominant winning history over the last couple of games, you just got to feel good. And it was scary for, what was it, 56 minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all but a few minutes of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually looking like it was going to be one of those games where unfortunately maybe the other Canadian team felt it on Sunday,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, we're dominating this game, but we just might not be able to bury a shot. Like it might
I
just
was
be
going to say,
all odds against us because they had so many good chances. Their zone time in the second and third had to have been like 70-30 US, but we just could
100%.
not first we couldn't hit the net, and then we just could not get a decent shot on goal. Their goalie was actually playing an unreal game, but I mean, American hero Hillary Knight, on a shot to become the greatest goal scorer in Olympic history. I believe between men's and women's side, the most goals in the Olympics at 16. Thank God.
Sounds right.
Thank
Yeah.
God. That would have been the most disappointing silver ever.
I think so. They were heavy favorites in that game, despite the fact that it is Canada. And like you said, scary. When I said it before, was probably not the right phrase. Frustrating might be the right phrase, because they were absolutely still dominating that game. They just could not find the back of the net, and so absolutely thrilled that it was Hillary Knight that ended up getting one in what's surely her last Olympics. Not that I want it to be, but just based on the track record and history of people that end up competing. And what a way to go out. Like, incredibly happy for her and for the women's team in general.
If she doesn't score that goal, we get silver. Is her marriage built on tragedy? Because it was a crazy move to get engaged the day before the gold
Nuts.
medal game.
Yeah.
I respect the confidence, but also, like, is everything just sad after that if you don't win? She ended up being like, okay, I'm not going to let this happen. Had a great tip, from the point there, but it was getting close to be like we might have jinxed the moment kind of scenario there.
I don't know that anybody would have put that on her, but within
would've.
her own household and
would've.
circle, somebody, I'm sure it would be brought up for sure.
Because everyone cares what I think. Also, do we just get into how big of a loser organization Hockey Canada is now, or do you just want to wait? Should we wait?
I think we have to wait a little bit on that. But,
Okay, because I have more to bring up on the women's side with that.
We can tease it now for sure.
Okay.
And I want to give due respect and attention to the
Yes.
Megan Keller goal
Yeah.
in overtime there.
Sick.
The recognition of the stretch pass to get that play started in the first place, the ability to work around a player, get control of the puck,
Two
put
players.
it on, yeah,
And a
get it
goalie.
into the net. Incredible. The photo that came out of it from the overhead shot, I already forgot the photographer that I wanted to credit.
That was a sick
Incredible
photo.
It's going to be printed, at her house, and it should be in, every arena that Megan Keller's ever played in. It will be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Incredible viewing.
Yeah, American hero, Megan Keller. And also, she followed it up with what I saw was the best, debatably the best celebration of any player. I mean, we'll get into the men's celebration later and Club 11. But, yeah, Megan Keller just laying on her back and just getting champagne dumped in her mouth. A bit of a disservice from whoever took the video not to crop the bottle in the video, or to it not include the bottle, because it did look like someone was pissing in her mouth. But I can tell you it was champagne, because I've been in that scenario. Not piss, champagne, where that scenario's happened. But I mean, then her and Jack Hughes take the photo together, and it was just such a special Olympics. But it really started off with that. Also got to give a shout out to Billy G's new favorite hockey player, Abby Murphy, who plays like a fucking junkyard dog. Draws, was it 4 penalties in the first game against Canada?
I think so.
I mean, just being a pest out there. I mean, she put me she was kind of put on the map in my mind when she did that little bounce pass between the legs at the U a couple weeks ago for maybe the greatest assist I've seen in my life.
100%.
And then draws 4 penalties, has breakaways. I mean, what a dog she is, Abby Murphy.
She had a similar play in the Olympics too, so it's not like, this was against Minnesota State, it doesn't really matter. Like, she has this skill and is able to do it on the world stage at where you've got the most attention on you. Absolute nerves of steel. I think that she's already gone places, but will continue going more places, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and obviously the women's hockey team had such a great support system in terms of parents. You know, you had Jack Hughes' mom, who was Jack Quinn and Luke's mom, who was very involved in putting the team together. You had Parker Fox there, who was just getting bombed off of tiny Coronas and chirping Canadians. And in the video, he's like 7 feet tall, so he's taking this video with his super long arm, and he's just saying, "Let's go." And there's so many Canadians in the video just sad. Incredible. He told me that Abby Murphy's dad. So at the Olympics, if you guys saw at the games, you could buy these tiny little aluminum Coronas. It's like the only beer you could buy at the games. But the best part is apparently they would sell them to you in entire 12 packs if you really wanted them that bad. So Parker told me that Abby's dad, before every game, would buy just a case of Coronas and just bring them over to the family of the players. So, I mean, I can't imagine a better group of people to hang out with than the women's family section. I mean, I'd imagine it got fairly rowdy every single game.
Well, when you're winning and you've got that much, you're able to have that much fun and be that relaxed, basically from the end of period 1 on, maybe period 2 on, in every one of those games, just absolute blast. You nailed it on the head. It would be an incredible run, and I think every one of them is going to remember it forever.
Yes, I mean, incredible. Sarge and I were here. You know, Sarge, that was the first Speedo game, and certainly not the last, but also the first gold medal we got in hockey, certainly not the last. I'm trying to think of other flowers to give Team USA. John, I can't remember what his last name is, the coach.
Yeah, I was disappointed to be reminded that coaches don't get gold medals for their team winning the Olympics. That's kind of crazy.
He should get a medal for just his style throughout the tournament. I mean, from the sweaters to the jackets to the tie, was the sharpest guy on either bench in every game. But I guess he was a decent NHL player. You know, tried to get in the coaching ranks of USA Hockey on the men's side. I think he was an assistant at one point, and then was like, I want to be the top dog, took over the women's program. And, yeah, really tragic he doesn't get a medal. Yeah. What else
I
is
hope
there?
USA Hockey does something nice for him.
Yes.
You know, hey, this isn't a medal. Here is an award of recognition. And I don't want to crap on plaques. Plaques have their place. Like, it's nice to put in an office or whatever, but you never look at them again. Whereas a medal, like, yes, it's smaller, but there's just like a different aura around it. Like you present it differently, and it's more of a talking piece. Like a plaque gets overlooked no matter where it is. Yeah. Whereas one of those medals is, oh, what's that for? And drives a little more intrigue.
Don't give him a labubu, because we already saw what Nathan McKinnon reacted.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get to those things. Other flowers we got to give Team USA. Obviously, 6 Frost players on the team, 1 Gopher. So a very heavy Minnesota presence in there. Taylor Heisey, friend of ours, scoring her first Olympic gold. First Olympic goal. I certainly think not her last. An awesome performance. Yeah. Opens up the ice for really everyone, similarly to how Quinn Hughes kind of plays.
She was the one that made the stretch pass on the winner, right?
Yeah, correct. I believe so. I mean, she's a very selfless player, to the point where sometimes I do want to scream shoot when she has the puck, but is always looking for a better pass. But you need those role players, you know. But obviously there's the clip of it on all of our socials. We absolutely lost it, you know, when she scored her first goal against that was the Saturday morning game against dude, all the games are blending together. It was like 2 weeks that never even happened, but took up every waking moment of my time.
Yeah.
Who the fuck were they playing? Oh, Czechia, I think. It was Czechia that Saturday morning. All right, do we want to shit on Hockey Canada? Can I at least throw one out there that pertains to the women's side?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So the Canadian Olympic Hockey Committee confirmed that Canada's women's hockey captain, Marie-Philip Poulin, was not allowed to speak French during a press conference after Team Canada's gold medal loss to the U.S. As someone with French-Canadian blood, I'm upset about that. I don't understand why they would do that. At what point does Quebec and the rest of the province just break off from mainland Canada? Because that's a load of horse shit.
I think they want to, so maybe this is one step in that direction. I had not previously heard that for whatever reason. I must have missed it, but I don't even know who makes that decision. Like,
I don't.
who gives that call?
Who tells the
idiot.
captain you're not allowed to speak a certain language?
Yeah,
That's bullshit. I think, too, we still definitely owe the French from the Revolutionary War. We'll take Quebec. We always make the joke about the 51st state. Well, they're welcome, man. We'll bring you into America where you can speak all the French you want.
is that going to be a popular take? Speak whatever language you want here.
Probably not. We'll say, you know what, English is the universal language, even though you go to Europe and sometimes people get pissed at you. So
Yeah.
I want to read, though. So apparently people were confused. Canadian Olympic Committee put out a statement apologizing for it. Yeah, fucking rights. I'm just curious why they would.
I could not possibly tell you why you would do that. Maybe, and this is me stretching a little bit here. Maybe they thought that they were doing the world a solid and saying, hey, let's be gracious in our responses here and make it so everybody can understand it, not just the people that know French,
Right.
not have to have people read. We want to address it in English and be like upstanding citizens. I'm going to give Canada the benefit of the doubt, and that's why they did it. But if you issue an apology instead of an explanation, maybe that's not true.
It also could be a scenario where Canada was like, we don't want the audience to be confused and think that we're French, because the French proved over the course of the last few weeks that they absolutely stink at hockey. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think you want to be associated with them whatsoever, at least in terms of an ice rink.
Better fighters than I expected.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Saw another soft organization, though, for banning their own player for sticking up for himself after Tom
That's
Wilson.
tough.
Yeah. Okay, any other mentions you wanted to have of the women's? I mean, obviously an incredible win. Got the tone set that, we're a hockey country and that we're going to continue. I think Canada definitely came out with a better game plan that second game, because the first game it was belt to ass, and then the second game we were on our heels until 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I think we could do an entire pod broadcast, whatever you want to refer to it as, on the women's team. I think there's many places that have already done that. I am glad that we spent this much time on it. I want to give them all the praise in the world. If we're going to get to everything else, I think we do have to move on.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot to talk about. Quinn Hughes, keeping us alive. Kept us alive. People forget, man, if it weren't for that bony little alien who apparently loves beers more than I ever thought he did, but he's never really had a reason to celebrate publicly until now. That goal in overtime against Sweden was just incredible. I mean, that was coming off the heels. Or wait, no. That happened Wednesday night, and then Thursday the women make it to overtime. So we had
Correct.
2 overtime wins in a row, which is just not good for my heart. But I really think that's what really started the tournament for the U.S.
Yeah, that was the belief system there, and a lot of it had to do with the U.S. track record versus Sweden. Obviously, we just can't beat them for whatever reason.
67 years, was it?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So it had been a minute. So having been up in the game, give up a goal really late. Shout out to was that Mika that scored that one? I think it was
Zibanejad or Hibenajad. Apparently the Z is silent, and like
That's
most hockey
crazy.
players, he just doesn't care that people pronounce it wrong. He just doesn't.
Did you
He's
guys
got to worry
know-
about other stuff.
Did you guys know that he's also a DJ?
Yeah.
Is that something
that doesn't
that's been
shock me.
discussed?
He's Swedish. I think they're all DJs.
He has
Yeah.
some really good songs if you're into EDM.
Yep.
I went through a Mika phase.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's always
but-
out of the playoffs so early. It's easy to.
He's got to get into the next.
He's got time.
career.
He's got a long off season.
Yeah. Anyway, he scores late, and it's just like, oh, the wind is out of the sails. Everybody's kind of like in panic mode. Are we falling apart against Sweden again? We got to get the monkey off of our back. And then to have Quinn Hughes score it felt incredible. As a new Quinn Hughes fan, being that he's on the Minnesota Wild now. To have it be assisted by Matt Boldy in addition to that was just icing on top. It was incredible. The celebration, slamming your stick against the glass, just kind of simple and easy. Everybody coming down, dog pile. You knew they had, a little bit more momentum and a little bit more belief that they could go and do the whole thing right after that.
Yeah, because you knew that you were playing Slovakia if you win that
Yep.
game, and
Yep.
and not that you ever want to doubt a team, especially in the semifinals. You knew that it was pretty much a shoe into the gold medal game if you win that
Yep.
game.
Yep.
So, which is what happened. But yeah, Quinn Hughes did that. Now, if we go to Slovakia, anything we want to hit on there? I mean, that was expected. I credit to Slovakia for making it as far as they did, but
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say before we move on from the quarterfinals, Canada against Czechia again.
Oh.
They win by 1 goal, and it's just like the narrowest of margins. They're getting past and they're getting through. And yes, that one didn't go to overtime, but I think they scored with like 10 seconds left in the game. It was incredibly late,
yeah,
and Czechia
McKinnon.
was like feeling themselves.
And of course they win the game in 3-on-3, which according
Yeah.
to Cooper down the road is a dumb way to determine the winner of a game.
Yeah, didn't say anything then.
I
No,
feel like we might talk about that in a little
I will
bit.
talk
Yeah.
about that. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that. So yeah, going to the gold medal game, dude, it was kind of like Christmas morning for I think hockey fans worldwide, or at least specifically in North America. I mean, it was like Christmas Eve the night before. Everyone's watching Miracle. I watched Miracle that night. It felt different that time.
Yep.
And then Friday morning I wake up at 5:30 or whatever to get to the studio, and the first thing I actually see is a video that USA Hockey posted that morning of like it was Mikey Ruzioni, and he was like, we did it however many years ago, but it's time for us to do it again, and this time it's not going to be a miracle. This is the group to do it, and it was such a good way to start the morning. Was just Ruzioni being like, let's end this drought and get it done.
Yep.
So, perfect way to set the tone. I tweeted this. I think collectively that had to have been the most intoxicated the entire continent of North America was at 8 a.m. on any given day, because, I understand why the game was so early in North America, but just absolute brutal scheduling by the Olympics to not have that game happen the day before the closing ceremonies.
Yeah, you can't change schedules just for the thought of USA Canada, because those are the only two Western teams in there. But man, did it stink to have it that early. And there was some places around the country that made exceptions and opened the bars and got everything going early and whatnot, and there was some places that didn't. But I think everybody that really wanted to found their way to partake, if you will, and they got up and watched it. And I think I just saw a stat saying that it was very hyper specific, but it was the most watched sporting event before 9 a.m. of all time in North America. But I don't remember what the specifics are on that. But it was just like a very funny thing that they had to make it so specific in terms of the time frame that it was on. But it might be rivaled in terms of the inebriation factor. It might be rivaled by the upcoming World Cup when you factor in Mexico is going to be in there as well, probably partaking a little bit earlier than normal. So, throw in the population of Mexico City and Canada and the U.S. and everything else going on. But we'll see.
Yeah, because they're not too bad at soccer, are they? I feel like they.
As
don't
an
know.
American, I don't know that we can say anybody's too.
This is a
bad at
hockey
soccer.
show. This is a hockey show. They suck at hockey too. We'll get there.
Yeah, they do.
We'll get there. But yeah, dude, it was an incredible game. Obviously, nerves were at an all-time high all day. I mean, we obviously start the game with an iconic Matt Boldy goal. You watch that goal back. Like I got to finally rewatch a little bit of the game yesterday, at least the parts that I wanted to, which is the first period and then overtime.
Yeah.
But you see that play developing, and you look back and you're like, how did he fucking score on that goal? There was no way he was even supposed to get a shot on net. And then he flips the puck up to himself, which I missed that the first time. I was so busy, worrying about pouring my next mimosa and cracking a captain's patch that I didn't really dial in that hard. But I looked back at that goal replay and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, when you're going 1-on-2 against two of the best players, I was going to say defenders, but we'll just say players in the NHL or in the world, same thing, potato, tomato, you don't expect to score, especially against, maybe against Binnington, but not Binnington in the Olympics anyway. So
Yeah.
the odds of capitalizing on that opportunity from, where he was at it, in the neutral zone there, pretty low. So to have that be USA's first shot on goal, first goal and everything, incredible. Just a great tone setter, if you will, in terms of the ability for the rest of the team and belief that they could come through and just kind of ride on that for as long as they could. And that's exactly what they did.
It was almost kind of like a reincarnation of Megan Keller's goal. You know,
yeah, there's some elements.
There were some similarities there, like burning 2 defenders, deking the goalie to get a big goal. I mean, it was awesome. Yeah. And then obviously Connor Hellebuck, in the tournament, we mentioned how good Frankel was, but Hellebuck goes 5-0-0 with a 9.56 and a 1.18 GAA, making 41 saves in the gold medal game, including maybe the best paddle save I've seen since Aiden Hill did it in the Stanley Cup Finals a couple of years ago. Just you watch that one back, and that's another goal where you're like, how didn't he score?
I don't know if I'm getting, Ballsack Sports or whatever, because I didn't watch the State of the Union or any of the clips yesterday. Is he actually getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And he got named the Secretary of Defense.
An incredible nickname.
It's just like, hey, Iran, if you want to come nuke us, no, we got Connor Hellebuck. He'll just throw his paddle out there and stop every missile from incoming. I believe it. I think, what? I think he can save us from anything, because that was insane. And you know what? Credit to him. I think he finally gets the monkey off his back of he doesn't show up in big moments. I know you can easily say, well, Stanley Cup finals and playoffs are different from Olympics, but I would argue they carry a very similar weight. So, I think now you can't blame it all on Hellebuck. He played great.
I was going to say they do carry a similar weight for, a team like the U.S. or somebody basically that's not Canada to win in the Olympics. It might carry more weight. At least it did. Now, maybe not so much just because we just won, but the inability to win on that stage, it was a lot of pressure on all of the U.S. and goaltending specifically. And I'll be honest, it wasn't an easy game for him. There was a couple of head-scratching saves and misses from Canada's side. I don't want to.
Johnny Gaudreau's ghost saved that, dude.
Yeah.
That was like I don't know how McKinnon missed that either, to be honest.
Yeah, it was wild. I would say 99 times out of 100, he's going to put that in the back of the net with half as much space. And he just didn't. And, I have no explanation.
That's going to haunt him for the rest of his life. I mean,
100%. He's going to be looking at that and avoiding that picture forever.
He ripped the head right off that Labubu the minute he got into the locker room and fucking lit it on fire. I mean,
I have a stupid question. What are those weasels, or is it something else?
Couldn't tell you. I just know that they're expensive and rich people are buying them.
They're
kind of like NFTs.
The mask, apparently, whatever the creature that they were, if they were weasels or whatever, apparently there's one or both of them. They're brother and sisters, and they change colors in the winter and then in the summer. So in the winter they're white, and then in the summer they change brown. But I can't remember if they're like
so like the reverse Michael Jackson.
I'm pretty sure weasels do that.
It might be a weasel. I can't remember.
Go from albino to like looking like a squirrel.
Is this one of those things where Canadians call fish different things than the U.S. does, but a northern is still a northern?
That's a good question. That's outside of my.
Okay.
If Sarge was here, he's a frequent visitor of Canada, specifically for fishing.
Any fishes.
Speaking of, Hellebuck, 2 big fishermen. I know he was just thinking about the lake the entire time.
One thing about Hellebuck, my wife, when we were watching the hockey games or whatever, she's like, God, he looks so skinny. I was like, Google some pictures of him out of his pads. It is shocking.
Look at Jordan Binnington outside of his pads. He's like,
it's crazy.
He's literally like a dog with no fur. It's disgusting. What else do I have about Connor Hellebuck? It was good to see him partying. Enjoying the boys. Had the iconic photo of him with the American flag draped over his back side by side with Jimmy Craig was, maybe one to hang in the lure.
Imagine having to go back to Winnipeg on a team that is vastly underperforming based on how they were last year, and being like the hero of American hockey, and the entire stadium is just going to be secretly booing him. And
Austin Matthews too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's same story. Yeah, that's got to be super weird. And it's also got to be weird for guys like Marchand, to come back to Florida with. I was just like laying. This is how dumb my brain has been the last few days and how obsessed with this I've been. I was trying to think of all the different teammates on either side. So you had like Marchand, was obviously teammates with Matthew and
I've always wondered
Sam
how that
Bennett.
dynamic works. Yeah, I've always wondered how that dynamic works in Florida with those two guys because they're two of the biggest talkers in the NHL. And you didn't really have that at all because they didn't exist on the same planet while Team USA and Team Canada played on the Olympic stage. I guess you got the four nations in there too, but like
fucking
they
all-star
just got to
game.
be giving it back to
Dude,
each other. Yeah.
Do you see the Canadians who are trying to like use the four nations as cope? That's so sad. If the roles were reversed, I would never bring up the four nations ever again. I'd be like,
and here's the thing: in the last 3 games, the U.S. owns 2 of them. Like,
right,
handled. So
right, yeah, best of 3, we win. I also think too, it's kind of one of those time is a flat circle kind of things because I always love following Florida when they win, a championship because you get to see the elbow room, you get to see them in the ocean, you get to see them at 11. And then, you see like Marchand and Bennett and all those guys at 11. And then like not even half a year later, it's Tkachuk and all these other guys at 11. And Brock Faber handing out Zins to everyone, which fucking rocks, by the way.
Sick.
He was so buckled the last few days. I'm so proud of him. But then you see you see Tkachuk there leading the charge, but then there's a different group there, but it's the same build. It's it's so weird to put all this together. So,
sorry, I didn't know if I froze there, if it was you. But
no.
yeah, I think I am just excited to see Olympic hockey players from the U.S. coming back with a sense of like relief and relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am so over seeing the depressed look or like, we wish we could have done better or, oh, we, lost a bad bounce or whatever. And it wasn't the prettiest game from them, but the fact that they all kind of like played hard throughout the entirety of it and there was no like real, fuck ups or anything like that, it made everything so palatable and so much more enjoyable to see them actually come back. And like, I think anything that they did in terms of relaxation when they got back was well deserved.
100%. And I think America got a monkey off its back because all we've been talking about is the Miracle on Ice. Mm-hmm. And the typical chirp back to that is that's literally the last time you've done anything, on the men's side. So,
well, 96, they won the World Hockey Championships, but different.
Okay. And we won that last year too, right? Tage Thompson, golden goal.
That sounds right.
Yes.
We did, but it didn't matter because all of Canada's best players were in the World or the Stanley Cup. So, just a proud tournament to be American. I mean, it was awesome. I immediately bought, attempted to buy a hockey jersey, which is what we could get into next. I just kind of have some odds and ends here. Nike and Fanatics fucked up the jersey thing, so they didn't anticipate that America would have a chance at winning the tournament and just did not print enough jerseys, which even if we got eliminated from the quarterfinals, I bet you'd eventually sell them all.
100%. Everybody loves those jerseys more than anything. The only thing that would make them or the uniforms better would be like if they had the stars on the breezers still. And if you call them hockey pants, you're an idiot and you're wrong. Mm-hmm. They're breezers.
Correct.
But like you're not selling those to people anyway. You're selling the jerseys, and there are some minor tweaks and alterations, but like that is what the Team USA jerseys are in terms of everybody's memory when they think of Olympic hockey. That's what everybody wants. Print them. You're going to sell them eventually. I cannot believe that they didn't print enough.
Yeah, there's best on best hockey, in 2 more years, right? And then, another Olympics in 4.
And honestly, throw them on a truck, bring them down Frat Row during all of these summer darties. Like, they're going to be sold.
Oh, yeah.
You're Nike. I think you can afford some holding costs.
Yeah.
So, it was funny because I tweeted a screenshot from an Athletic article about that, and Darren Ravel ended up quote tweeting it, all sorts of other big names. So it got all sorts of traction. And then people in my replies were talking about something around Nike stock. So there was a big stock argument with the $sign you can do on Twitter. And I was getting DMs like, oh, Jack, are you a trader? And I was like not a trader as in TR
Yeah.
It was like TRADER. I'm like, I didn't mean to start a financial discussion here. I'm just pissed off that I can't buy a Hellebuck jersey because that's all I want.
Jack, that was the right answer because those were definitely FBI agents looking to see if we were part of some internal
100%.
fixing.
Well, 10K just caught up on 5 years worth of taxes about a month ago, so you can already find enough tape on me. Some other odds and ends, I think, I've put this out publicly. I think a lot of people owe Billy G a massive apology for the way he put together Team USA. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear any more shit talk about Vincent Trocheck and JT Miller being on the team because they killed 18 penalty kills or 18 power plays, including a 5-on-3, which I thought when we went to a 5-on-3 against Canada, I'm like, okay, so that's 2 guaranteed goals. Like, This is the greatest power play unit of all time, and we just gave them a huge advantage.
Yeah, this was my stick tap. It was Billy Guerin's roster, and I think that everything you touched on there is the exact points I wanted to make. It was those 2 guys specifically because they got the most heat of anybody in terms of people that were actually going to play, meaningful minutes, and that the fact that they didn't give up a power play goal or surrender a goal while on the penalty kill, however you want to phrase it, it's the same thing, is incredible in this tournament. And it wasn't just a 5-on-3. It was a 5-on-3 against Canada for 1 minute and 33 seconds. It wasn't like 15 seconds of 5-on-3 and then,
No, it was a long time. It was the longest minute and a half of my entire life.
So, yes, 100% that deserves all the recognition in the world. And I have no doubt in my mind that Caulfield and Robertson are going to, make the next Olympic roster, provided that they're healthy. They do deserve a spot. There's going to be plenty of people on this Team USA that aren't going to be able to make it back for another run. Brock Nelson being one of them. I was surprised that he was, on this one, not from a talent standpoint, just because he's getting up there in terms of NHL age. Obviously, Patrick Kane, from a legacy standpoint, a lot of people thought he should be on here just for name alone. He's still producing a little bit for the Red Wings. I think it was the right move to leave him off, and all of that was proven correct based on the results here.
If you bring Patrick Kane, he's basically just a team mascot, kind of like Snoop Dogg was.
100%. And, that's kind of what Sidney Crosby was for Canada, right. And that's unfortunate, and in large part due to the injury that he sustained, which I still don't know what it was. But it wouldn't have been in terms of, he wouldn't be a top 6 guy. We'll say that.
Yep. Some more odds and ends on the game. My entire feed right now on Instagram and TikTok is Canadian reactions to the goal. I mean, really incredible stuff. People forget the last time it was best on best, obviously last year, 4 Nations. The roles were reversed. Obviously, we lose the game in a golden goal. And Sarge and I, during the first ever 10K Takes international hockey stream, I was dressed as the Eagle. He was dressed as God knows what. And we give up the goal. He shatters the guitar. We're sitting there sad. And we have probably 4,000 comments on Instagram, all from Canadians giving it to us. 2 million views on Instagram alone. So it did feel really good to sweep those videos and be like, this time it's not me being sad, because I don't think we can post that again.
100%. And we're not often in this position. Obviously, we as the United States haven't won a gold medal in men's hockey in 40, what year is it? 46 years.
Yeah. So, no one's counting. The clock has been reset, so it's actually 0 years.
Right. So yeah, it feels good for a change. Just I don't know. It was Kevin from The Office. It's just nice to win one.
Yes. Yep. 100%. Couple other things before we get into stick taps. I thought Peacock did an amazing job, and NBC, at covering the Olympics, specifically using their app, being able to jump around from sport to sport, being able to rewatch anything you want. Specifically the Gold Zone. Yeah. I for some reason never heard that was going to be a thing, that Scott Hansen was going to come in and do that. But oh my God, did he kill it? The whole team. He was jumping around from sport to sport the same way he does, on NFL Sundays, and just bravo from NBC on a great broadcast. And Peacock is only $9.99 a month. So, for $10K, we bought it for 1 month. $10 to watch as much Olympic coverage as you want, I think, is money well spent.
100%. I will say it was wildly different when I was watching on, a DirecTV app versus Peacock, because my wife had it on Peacock in her office next door here, and I had it on DirecTV. and I could tell what was going to happen because she was like a minute and a half ahead of me, just based on the gasps and everything that I was hearing over there. So I eventually had to just put headphones in and whatnot. So Peacock was the faster of all of the streaming services, which, if you know anything, that's all that matters. Because if you're first, if you ain't first, you're last, in the words of Ricky Bobby. And it certainly mattered when it came to watching those games back. So yeah, I think if you didn't have the Peacock app, it was much, much more difficult to actually find things as they were happening instead of having to wait till the national broadcast.
I'm also always behind for some reason, regardless of when and where I watch. So during 3-on-3, I told everyone to put your phones on Do Not Disturb because I knew immediately my phone was going to blow up. Everyone else's was going to, and we were knowing something was going to happen. So we raw dogged overtime, which is the way it was meant to go. But yeah, that's always the tricky thing of streaming is someone's always ahead and behind.
It's the worst in football. I'll get those, touchdown or interception or whatever notifications like a minute before they end up happening. And so like I have to put my phone either on Do Not Disturb or in a different room or whatever. But
I always have those turned off.
Yeah.
100%.
Before we go anywhere else, I think, everybody knows what happened, but in terms of the 3-on-3 in overtime, to see McDavid, McKinnon, and Makar on the Canadian side there, it's like
terrifying.
Yep.
It is the scariest line in hockey. I don't care who you root for. I don't know that you would make a different line if you're trying to, produce the best 3-on-3 option. You've got a defender in there. You've got maybe the fastest skater on the planet in there, and maybe the most talented skater or goal scorer on the planet there. So like you've got everything in terms of a well-built and incredible depth for a 3-on-3 hockey. And it did seem like that for a little bit there. But on the opposite side, with Jack Hughes having the balls, the audacity to go for the low probability, but high risk, high reward poke check to get it over
at center ice. Yeah.
It was a 2-on-0 going the other way if that doesn't happen. So like, I don't want to say it's a stupid decision. It is certainly a risky decision. So he ended up making the right decision. Skates all the way down. Obviously, McKinnon loses the battle for the puck. Werenski gets it back to him, and he scores. And the rest is history there. But the one view that I didn't see, and I've got my own gripes about the camera work that happened during the Olympics and panning to the crowds instead of the actual players after goals. Yeah. But the one view I didn't see until a day or two later was from behind Binnington, where you see McDavid and I think it was Makar skating back, and they weren't rushing all that hard.
No,
man. Like those are two of the fastest skaters in the NHL, and I will say on the planet too, which again is the same thing. And they did not back check to the point where it was like that's going to be a really tough look and a tough watch back for a very long time for Canadians. And we've already debunked the 3-on-3 argument and everything else that goes in there. If they come back and play actual defense there, like I don't know that we're having any of these conversations right now. And credit to Jack Hughes to get that and then make his own, push at full speed to get in the position that he did. But that was, something I had to highlight as a tough look for the Canadians there, and something I want to point out to anybody that says, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, blame your guys. This is their fault for not hustling back.
Well, and maybe they weren't hustling back, or maybe they were exhausted because Cooper was playing those three the entire third period. Like that's something I didn't realize until I listened back to some breakdown of the game. And apparently, like the third and fourth line for Canada was not getting any ice time. Like Sam Bennett rarely even saw the ice the whole game. Yeah. So like Cooper, maybe have some trust in your bottom six, right? Like maybe have some more faith in your. And that's, I think, what America was so good at. It didn't matter what line was out there. Like, they had a chance of making a difference. And that's...
Yeah, I saw Jake Gensel on the ice in the third period, and I was like, oh, God, this might not have been my decision, but it ended up working out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even like Brock and Nelson had a great, first half of the tournament, but, so like things like that. But, yeah, the McKinnon-Makar back check, or McKinnon losing that battle to Werenski, who I don't think is also getting enough credit for not only winning that battle, but then making that pass, not like it was a hard pass, but easily could have had the moment, the lights shine too bright, could have screwed that up. What else do I have here? Oh, the final thing around the Olympics, and then we can move on if you want to, is just got to give a shout out to some of your local Duluthans, the Corys, the curlers, obviously not the result they wanted, but that was a a fun period of time before the men's tournament started and while the women weren't playing yet was to watch a couple of members of the Duluth Curling Club compete for gold against the Swedish.
Yeah. Corey's husband is another engineer, and I used to curl with him when I was still up in Duluth pretty frequently, and so I got to know Corey a little bit through that. And I mean, everybody in the Duluth Curling Club is like really, really close. And if you go to hockey games in Duluth, it's well worth the extra, $5, maybe it's $10 now to pay to get into the Duluth Curling Club and have drinks and food there prior to going to Amsoil. Every once in a while, they'll still actually be curling when you go in there and do it. And it's always incredible to go and watch. I don't know if it's officially the home of USA Curling now, or if that's at the Blaine Four Seasons Curling Club. Both of them are incredible. I have curled and still do curl at both every once in a while.
You're a curler?
Oh, dude, it is hard to get into. But once you do it, like, even if you only go to like 3 or 4 Bonspiels or events a year, so much fun to pick back up. You do suck at it. Like, it's very hard to be very good at it.
Yeah.
But you can fill in for somebody if you need to. Like, you're just going to throw first.
You're just the emergency backup thrower of the rock.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. That was obviously heartbreaking, but seeing them get to the gold. So they beat Sweden in the semis, right? And then they lost to Italy in the gold medal. Or is it the other way around? No, it was that.
No, they lost to Sweden because the girl with the glasses.
And the guy who was chirping the Canadians, who cheated at curling, by the way.
Yeah.
having the there's so many good memes with the finger of McKinnon, with the shot, and then like he's touching the puck like away from the net. It's so good.
It's just a tainted gold medal for Team Canada in curling, which I love as well.
Just a disastrous Olympics for them. I'm so happy, dude. I love the people that were like, we took your pop star and now we took your sport. Like, what does Canada have left?
Yeah.
And they're like, we won the Four Nations face-off, which is that going to define McDavid's legacy? That's the final question.
I want to pile on McDavid, but right now I'm seeing it like McDavid is Punch the Monkey of the NHL. Like, he is just getting absolutely throttled. He cannot win the big one.
And then he has to go back to the Canadian media, and they just give it to him today at practice. That was a tough watch. That
brutal. Yeah.
I'm not surprised, but I'm also like, come on, man. Like, you had to have at least been rooting for Canada. I get that as a journalist, you're not a fan of the team, so you're objective. But in this scenario, as a Canadian, you have to at least show some bias and maybe go easy on him. But no, they just fucking gave it to him.
I am going to be thrilled when his 2-year extension is up and he just books it to the U.S. and whatever city's going to have him.
He can go.
Oh, get the heck out of there, man. Like, anywhere else in the U.S. is going to be better than that in terms of like your overall lifestyle. Like, LA, you can, and I don't want him to follow the same path as Gretzky. I don't think he wants to follow the same path as Gretzky, but like, you look at Mike Trout, you look at many of these other superstars in LA. If you're not a Kardashian, nobody in LA cares about you for the most part.
No, you're on the bottom of the totem pole somehow.
You can live whatever life you want in like secrecy for all anybody cares, and it's just a much better lifestyle. Yes, the taxes suck. Yes, there's some downsides to it.
But you're already used to that in Canada, so
fair point.
It's not that big of a jump.
Yeah.
I think I'm finally getting to the point where I feel bad for him.
I
officially
feel bad for him.
It really set in today. And the fact that he just has to see Matthew Tkachuk and his nightmares and that fucking shaved sides of his heads, that T-shirt that he already had made, somehow that Boldy was wearing at 11 that said, he doesn't stop winning, and it's the 2 cups and then the gold medal, and oh my God, he's almost at Rory's level. Until Rory won the Masters, like they're getting pretty similar in terms of fucking up the big one. So
agreed.
I don't know. All right, well, let's do stick taps and take a lap. Did you have any other stick taps you wanted to give? I know you already mentioned Billy G.
No, I think that one kind of speaks for itself, just in terms of, or in the interest of preserving time. I know my computer likes to cut out and shut off at random times once we get over an hour, so I'll let you guys do yours.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say mine is also in the same vein as the Olympics. I just wanted to say USA Hockey for how they honored Johnny Gaudreau throughout the whole process of the of the Olympics. They've been bringing his jersey in all the locker rooms. Immediately a couple of the players run in the locker room, bring his jersey out. They flew his parents over. They flew Meredith and the kids over. I think it was Kachuk and Werenski went to the crowd and actually got Johnny's son and daughter, included them in the photos. An incredible gesture. And, it wasn't just one of those things where they were like, all right, we're going to do the first year of honors and then we're going to move on. But no, I feel like this is going to be, something cemented in the veins of USA Hockey, maybe forever. Maybe that jersey may never leave the locker room. I don't think it ever should because, Johnny obviously was a pretty key player in the program for so many years and would have been really cool to see him win this gold. But, I think all the players, I think everyone just did a very first-class move, the whole way around it at honoring him and his brother.
100%. And I think that there's a lot of people that don't necessarily understand USA Hockey and how it's kind of built and run. A lot of the guys that are on this Olympic team were playing on the U18 team, the U20 team. Like they've been playing together for a very long time, even if they weren't on the same NHL team or the same college team or whatever. Like they have that same kind of USA National Team Development Program track that they were following. And so to be involved in that kind of links you to people forever. And so I don't know that the Gaudreau jersey will be there until the end of time, but I do think it will be there until the end of that group, a couple years before, a couple years after is out. And I think that is the right path to make it special and meaningful because he did play a huge part in every one of those guys' lives. And I think that's, been very, very nice and great to see and how it should be handled.
Yep. 100%. Johns, I know you were a last second fill in for producer, but did you have any stick taps you wanted to give?
Yeah, I'll jump in for a quick stick tap. State high school hockey tournament starts next week. There's actually, as we were recording, a huge upset.
Another one?
Yeah, Hill Murray lost to Gentry.
Oh, Hill Murray goes down.
Another number one seed goes down.
One?
I mean,
is that a huge one?
Based upon seeding, I would say, but I don't know, like on paper. But Gentry won 4-2.
I think anyone
private
just
school loses
loves
to a
see
hockey
it.
school.
Yeah. We love to see that. All right, let's do Take a Lap. What do you guys got for Take a Lap?
What do I got for Take a Lap? It's very on brand with what John just said. St. Thomas Academy sucks to suck. The Irish beat you in the brand new St. Thomas Arena, which was sold out for the first time ever since it had opened, which is unfortunate for the St. Thomas College game, but shout out to the Irish, shout out to Rosemount. You deserve every bit of shine that you got. You just hate to see a school that pays or that kids have to pay $30,000 to attend lose and not make the state hockey tournament. Bummer.
Johns and I were just talking about how awesome sections is because it doesn't matter how good or bad you are the whole year. You could get upset. I remember I went the year that Minnetonka, they weren't undefeated, were they, or were they? They had a perfect record and they lost in sections 2 years ago. Yeah. Anyways, so the day after that happened, I was invited to play in a pickup skate at that arena, and they still had all the balloons and all the photo ops ready for people, ready for the celebration. And they left it all up the next day. No one had taken it down. And it's just, you walk in and just kind of laugh your ass off about it because you're never really in until you're in, regardless. Yeah. So that's what I think is beautiful. I mean, Rogers, same story, right?
Yep.
Number one team in the state, bam, not even a shot at it. It's crazy. Also a shout out as well to the Minnesota Warriors. I think I can announce here first for the real hardcore 10K fans that at the Expo next Friday from 10 to 3, whatever it goes to, we will be sitting in a dunk tank provided by the Minnesota Warriors veterans hockey team, and people can shoot tennis balls at the dunk tank to submerge us in water, all going to help veterans. So, a really ridiculous way to spend your Friday for us for a great cause. All right, Johns, do you have any take-a-laps? Do you want to rip on anyone or anything? How about Sarge for feeding his dog eggs and having to clean up its diarrhea?
Yeah, I thought about giving him a stick tap since he helped us maybe figure out the technology, but I think in the end it was just us. But My take a lap. Are you guys familiar with what bone smashing is?
Uh, you know what? I wasn't until I had heard it. I got about 15 seconds into somebody explaining it, and I said, "People online today shouldn't be online
Opt
anymore."
out.
Like,
You opted
I feel
out.
like this is almost like
opted
the
out.
new like eating Tide Pods like situation. So for those of you that don't know, it's literally taking a hammer to your face to crack bones and to give yourself certain attractive facial
Oh,
features.
yeah. Okay. Now I do know what this is all about.
And I just think that is you can't tell me breaking bones purposely is going to do you anything good down the road. So people that
So-
are out there bone smashing, take a lap.
Is this part of that whole like mogging thing
Yes,
and the
100%.
frat king and what's clavicular?
Yeah, that's exactly who it's
Okay,
from.
so that's all part of this. Because yeah, I don't understand any of it, and I don't want to. I don't need to.
Nope.
the fact that today's youths are making those people like they're giving them enough views or
It's
views in general
insane.
is insane to me. And like, who's the streamer that gets in trouble all the time that just got kicked out of the PGA event too?
Oh, Jack Doherty.
Jack
Oh,
Doherty.
yeah.
Who is watching those? Like,
Ah,
there are certain things from every generation. Like,
kids are giving them
I-
money. They're donating to their streams.
I don't get it. Like,
It's insane.
who is still watching? What's that singing show where they're in costumes?
Masks?
I watched that for more seasons than I'm proud of, but I don't anymore.
Jack.
They had some really good talent. The for Peyton
Yeah,
Manning was on. He's
shut
like
up.
one of my
Just
favorite
turn
football
on
players
Spotify.
ever.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
but
in
it's
the
fun
minority
not
here.
knowing who they are.
I'm in the minority here, and I get it. Like,
We're
I've
talking
never
about two
understood
different
why-
things.
Yeah, I've never understood why people enjoy live music in general. Like, a recorded version is always better. Like, I've just never understood anything.
Yeah.
So like that's part of it for me. But like, people who are watching The Masked Singer, people who are watching like the 75th season of American Idol, people who are watching this, I don't understand it. from the
Chicago
older
Fire.
generation. Yeah, like, who's keeping those in business?
Chicago PD.
And then on the younger side, the Jack Doherty, the clavicular, the whatever is going on right now, like, these are all such fringe niche, like, ancillary things that just don't exist in anybody's life that I talk to, that I just can't wrap my brain around how they're making enough money to not only function to start with, but like succeed.
Be multimillionaires.
It does bring like it lowers my faith in the American people.
Yeah,
a lot.
I honestly come from the generation of people who in college were eating Tide Pods and hitting each other with golf carts, and somehow we did not set the bar lower than it could go, which is incredible, to be honest.
Yeah. And I'll say this, the golf cart thing I thought was funny for a while too. And then like everybody that was doing it was like, oh no, this actually kind of sucks. And they quit very quickly. Like,
Yeah. I think people just wanted to stop ruining their friendships over a couple thousand views. That's kind of a good transition into my take a lap. I want to go to the Timberwolves organization for doing a 6-7 cam during games.
50
Not-
Cent.
Yeah.
Not only doing 6-7, which I still don't understand that one either, but yes, putting 50 Cent on it and for him doing it. This is the reason we're not
Oh.
going to the Western Conference Championship 3 years in a row. I refuse to believe it. We're a loser organization. We fumbled Giannis. We're doing a 6-7 cam. It's despicable, if I'm being honest. Just a real tough look for the organization.
The last UMD game I went to
Oh, no.
in Duluth, they also had a 6-7 cam. And I'll be honest, they did it too early in the night to the point where all of the kids in the arena were trying to do it to get it on again, as if they were going to have another 6-7 cam. And I was just like, cancel it all. Stop doing it. I know you want to get kids in here. Like, they're the next generation of people that are going to watch the game. They want them to be excited. Their parents are the ones that are bringing them there. They're going there anyway. Like, it doesn't matter. The kids aren't going there for the 6-7 cam. Do anything else. Just stop it.
Yeah, after the most recent, little scandal with the U.S. men's hockey team and pronoun Twitter wanting to bomb America, I think if our youth keeps doing this, I might agree with it.
Yeah.
Let's just start over. Let's turn it off and turn it back on.
Reset
I think
button.
we just need to do that
I do think so.
because we're getting pretty annoying. But all right, let's transition to The Wild, because, yeah, we got to go back to watching Ben Jones play hockey now, which is crazy.
Hey, shut up, Ben Jones. That was a ricochet shot.
That was mean. That was mean. I blame Sarge for saying that, like, every single day for the last 3 days of the Olympics. Dude, I can't believe you got to go back to watching Ben Jones. I'm like, you're a Blackhawks fan. You're watching far worse than Ben
Their
Jones.
games don't even matter anymore.
Yeah, you're literally starting an AHL team. But so upcoming games, ironically, we get to play Colorado tomorrow night and Nathan McKinnon.
The Wild have the worst return to hockey schedule, and they don't even play tonight like half the league does.
Right. So Matt Boldy, obviously a big part of the Olympics. Brock Faber, big part of the Olympics. Quinn Hughes, big part of the Olympics. Facing off against Nathan McKinnon, big part of the Olympics. Devon Tays, big part of the Olympics. Cale Makar, big part of the Olympics. So it is funny that it's like three of the most key players, facing each other tomorrow night in Colorado, back in the States. So that one will be interesting. At this point, I don't really have any expectations for the next 3 games. I think it's just who can recover the fastest,
More or less. Yeah.
So,
I did see there was a lot more cuts and scratches on Boldy's face specifically, but like the faces of everybody on Team USA compared to the rest of the world. And I was like, man, they just did not get the rest that the rest of the players did. And so I'm really hoping like Kaprizov and Foligno and some of these other guys who weren't playing, in the Olympics or during this break are able to pick up a lot of the steam, because if they can do that for the Wild, I don't know that the depth of Colorado matches up with them as much.
yeah, and I mean, not that I want to root against them, but thankfully our goalies, got eliminated in the quarterfinals, because then they got plenty of time to get back, practice with the boys, adjust the time zones. I can imagine for, Boldy, Faber, and Hughes going from, a bender in Milan, taking a flight back, immediately going to a club in Miami, then getting routed, to the White House, the state. It's got to be a whirlwind. And then I heard Craig Leopold sent his jet to D.C. to pick them up and bring them to Colorado. So at this point, they got to be just like, I don't even know what real life is anymore. I've been in 4 different cities in the last 4 days. It's got to be a whirlwind, but I don't really care. Right now, it's going to take me a week to get back to the Wild in terms of really caring as much as I do, which is probably way too much in the regular season, but I'm just on cloud 9 to the point where I don't think anything could really shake my mood right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. If there is one game that I do want to win more than the rest, it would be Colorado, and then I think
Yep.
you kind of slough off after that. But like,
yeah, because you got Utah on Friday night, and then St. Louis is back home on Sunday. I would be interested to see what a ticket to that game is going to cost, just as they're going to honor Bill Guerin, John Hines, Boldy, Quinn Hughes, Faber, the trainers.
And Bennington has to sit there and watch it all too.
I didn't think of that. Fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome. Yes. Oh, and Colorado. Brock Nelson is on that team. So they're going to honor him and the United States. And McKinnon, Makar, and Tays are going to have to sit and watch that. That's amazing.
Yep.
That's amazing stuff.
Hey, real quick, you guys, there was a comment in the chat from Thomas. He was talking a little bit about the trade deadline. I think the trade deadline is 12 days away, maybe only 11
Billy
now.
G didn't get much of a break.
Yeah, so
Next
Wild
Friday.
go right back to work, but any trade inklings out there that you guys want to address for the chat, or anyone you'd like to see maybe wearing a Wild sweater come end of the deadline?
There's plenty of people I would like to see. I don't know that any
Hughes.
of them are realistic. Yeah. Well, here's one thing I have to say about that. I don't want to say anybody needs to change their morals for it. I don't want to say anybody needs to suck up to anybody else or whatever. But there's a lot of Wild fans who are being really critical of Quinn Hughes right now, who is not on a long-term contract, and we're really hoping to get Jack in here. Like, maybe we need to have like a little bit more empathy and like understanding of what does and doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, and like make him still think that the Wild love him, because we do. So that Jack is like, oh no, that's a great spot. Maybe I do want to go there.
I think they prefer it though, because a lot of those people that are upset have literal shrines in their bedrooms of these guys. Like,
Yeah.
it's borderline fucking creepy. I'd be
the,
like,
the one that I saw that was really upset was a Canadian.
Yeah.
That had Vancouver stuff everywhere. So like maybe it doesn't matter as much as I'm making it out to be. But there's certainly some Wild fans right now that are being quite critical of Quinn, which I have got my own opinions on that. But
luckily Quinn doesn't give a shit, and
Yeah.
I do think too, the Wild have to be the front runner for Jack Hughes if something happens, because if you remember, this all started back when he cut his hand. The first phone call he got was Billy G, and he said, "Hey kid, take a breath, relax, you'll be all right. I know you want to play in the Olympics. You're going to be a big deal. You're going to be a star." And look what happened. He manifested it. So I would think right now, Billy G is on his best buddies list, which I think is,
I hope so.
is huge.
Maybe the biggest trade deadline acquisition that we could get is hosting a Tate McRae concert here on a consistent basis. That would
Honorary Canadian or American now, Tate McRae.
get her a Wild jersey, start talking to her people, get her here, kind of like Vegas, when Usher and all those people have a residency, have a Tate McRae residency here at
the
Grand
G-Spot?
Casino. I think I might be onto something. Maybe Sarge, if you're still watching,
no.
you can send some videos her way. I'm sure
You don't
can
want to
entice
engage
her.
Sarge on
I don't
this
know that we
topic.
want to put. Yeah, I don't know that we want to put Sarge in charge of that.
Hey, it's all for views.
He's
at
going to
the
be
end
like,
of the
all right,
day.
guys, I did the research. She's just really fucking hot. We're going to be like, yeah, what else? That's it. I've just been staring at her body the entire time. Yep. All right.
I think she's
Good
a
work.
great artist for what it's worth.
She does have an amazing
She
voice.
does have
Like,
some bangers.
if Love is Blind, I'm still in love with her voice. And then I'm seeing her and I'm like, oh. You think she's still going to love Jack with all his broken teeth? Is he going to get veneers now? I hate when people get veneers because
Supposedly,
they all just kind of have like a lisp when they talk with
according
veneers.
to X, he has gold grills
Oh,
to commemorate the gold medal that they won.
are
I
you
don't
sure
know
you
if
didn't
that's
get
true.
sentinel? I think you got
It-
sentineled on
it
that.
might be, but it's still sick.
I think you got ball sack sports on that.
I said once I saw how bad that cut was, he needs to get at least a gold flipper because those are all temporary anyway. Because a lot of the NHL
Yeah.
guys, they'll get those as temporary fill-ins until the end of the season. Then they'll go get all their dental work done. And so I hope just until the end of the season he's got a gold flipper to commemorate it. And maybe that's what they're saying when they think grills. But
Just hit up Justin
Pretty good
Jefferson.
luck.
He's got a guy.
Yeah.
he's got a guy.
Veach, I know we don't have a ton of time left. Is there anything you wanted to mention college hockey wise? I think the only thing I'll say before I let you hit on some quick hits is just that, like, from now until the Frozen Four, I think I'm officially dialed in now to the final stretch of college hockey, because during the Olympics,
important.
nothing else really mattered. Like, I did watch North Dakota play. Obviously, they had a disappointing tie with St. Cloud. They almost got swept at one point to Miami of Ohio. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think right now from here to April, I think I'm dialed in on college hockey. I think that's now the next task at hand.
I think that is incredible for everybody that is on the fence about it. That's a good not sponsorship, but promotion for college hockey, because it is very exciting and it's about to get much more intense. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on weekend recaps. Some people had good weekends. Gavin McKenna had 8 points on the weekend. He's still like
Decent.
T10 for points.
And he
or
did the
whatever.
McGregor Selly too.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, his stock has gone significantly up in the last few weeks. It's an incredible run he's on.
It is. I would say, despite the fact that he had an 8-point weekend, he's still, like I said, like T10 or something for total points in the league. He's 17, so I do have to have that caveat in there. He's a great player. He's going to be an NHLer. I think he's on the trajectory of a Connor Bedard, but
He'll be a great silver
With that one,
medalist
yeah.
in France
Yeah.
in 2020 or 2020, 2030. That's going to
2030.
be awesome for him.
yeah.
He's going to get a little boo.
As far as everything else, I'm going to skip over the rankings for now and go straight into the NPI rankings, because that's really the only thing that matters. Michigan State, Michigan, North Dakota, Western are your top four. So those would be your top four seeds when we get into the national tournament there. So you've got 2 Big Ten teams, 2 NCHC teams. That's kind of feels like how it should be. They're the 2 that everybody thought was going to be there at the start of the season, and they're the 2 that are there now. in
And
terms of
a
NCHC.
big prove it weekend for both Western and North Dakota.
Well, that's
squaring up this
specifically
weekend.
what I wanted to get into now is, well, I'll get into that in just 1 second because we'll finish out the NPI rank. But that one, if for some reason I gloss over it, make me come back to it. But at the bottom of the 16 teams, which is 16 make it in based on your overall standings, and then you kind of cut them out based on whoever wins conference tournaments. So let's say 16 right now is Minnesota State. They would be the first one out because there's no Atlantic hockey team above them. So when an Atlantic hockey team wins, they would take that 16 seed spot. 15, 16, 17, and 18 are all CCHA teams right now, and that's the highest one that they are. So we have a potential to see a CCHA team end their season at 15, but a different CCHA team end up winning that conference tournament and knocking them off and out of that spot, which I'm rooting for as an agent of chaos. But one of those 4 teams will be the CCHA representative in the postseason here. I don't think we're going to get 2, so keep an eye on that. St. Thomas was the front runner for a while, but they have kind of fallen off, and Michigan Tech is kind of making a charge out of seemingly nowhere. So Augustin has got an incredible goalie, and Minnesota State has been up and down all year. Outside of that, it's been pretty consistent teams throughout for the majority of the season. UConn basketball school is at 14 right now, so they're in that dangerous category or dangerous territory. But they've had some pretty convincing wins. Last weekend was a little bit rough for them, but that's about it. So when we talk about Atlantic hockey teams that are going to make it, Bentley is the only one that's really close or has proven that they can, win against these other teams regularly. If you remember last year in the first round of the tournament, they gave a pretty good scare to whoever they were playing. I don't think that they're going to make a run past, or to the Frozen Four or anything like that. But it's not a team that you can necessarily overlook. Touching on a couple of the leading scorers in college hockey right now, Ethan Wittenbach is up there alone by himself, 54 points, 9 more than second most in college hockey, which is Cruz Lucius. He's leading in goals and assists. Goals, technically, he's tied with Max Plant, who plays for UMD, at 22, but he's got 32 assists as well. There's some people that are detractors saying, he plays in the ECAC, where outside of Dartmouth and Cornell, you really don't have any other competition. I'm not going to say anything past that. I agree with that to a certain extent. But there's a lot of people that have weaker schedules who are doing less with it. So certainly worthy of recognition for sure. Talking about individual accolades, Hobey Baker voting is open. If you don't know how, just go to hobeybaker.com. They'll tell you how to vote. It is a little bit more complicated than before. I think you have to send a text message to actually vote for a person instead of just being able to do it online. A lot of that
all those Russian bots just hacked the website.
A lot of that has to do with me spoofing everything in like 2014, I think it was. I would just go on, because all you had to do was go on Google incognito mode, and then you could vote over and over and over and over again.
Leave it to college hockey to take that long to catch up with, technically, with the rest of the sports world.
So I don't know how they're doing it, but Dylan Bentley, who is currently, he's got 22 points overall. I didn't have a tied note in here. It's down in like the hundreds for that. So he's not going to win the Hobey. I'll say that right now, despite the fact that he has the most popular votes for Hobey Baker winners. UMass Lowell has just got an incredible dedicated fan base and campaign for getting him up there. The next 3 on there have a real shot, and that's Max Plant, Ethan Wittenbach, who we just talked about, both of them leading the league and leading college hockey in scoring, and then Jake Livanovich, who you're obviously very familiar with as well. So
big goal,
those are your
big
3
goal
kind
this
of front.
weekend.
Yep. And then we get into the actual matchups that matter this weekend. Minnesota versus Michigan only matters because it's Minnesota playing, and Michigan is looking to hold on to one of the number 1 seeds. I think they had a pretty scary game or series against Wisconsin this past weekend. Wisconsin beat them on their first game, and I think they played them really tough in the game 2 as well. So it's going to be a, can we return to form and kind of dominate Minnesota like we're supposed to, quote unquote. And then on the other side of things, Minnesota is we need to get in the form of winning now, so that when it comes to Big Ten tournament time, we can actually make our run and try and get a spot in the playoffs by winning that conference tournament, which unlikely, but that's their only path. CCHA, we already talked about. None of those 4 teams that are vying for a spot are actually playing each other. So Michigan Tech is playing Bowling Green, Minnesota State is playing Northern Michigan, St. Thomas is playing Bemidji State. All of them need to sweep those series to keep their current ranking. And if they don't, they're going to be on the outside looking in for sure. Quinnipiac playing Dartmouth. I think Dartmouth is currently out right now. They've had a bit of a tougher stretch since they were number 1 in the country on the NPI standings, weeks 11 through whatever. But Quinnipiac needs to beat them if they want to maintain their top 10 spot. And then you get into BC and BU. BC is comfortably in the tournament right now. BU comfortably out. BU always plays BC very hard. So I would keep an eye on that one for sure, just to see how BC kind of responds. Do they let their foot off the gas after having a good weekend against UConn, or are they just going to do business as usual, rely on Hagens, rely on all of their scorers, and maybe get some good goaltending? But the premier series of the weekend, and the one that really matters, is 3 versus 4 in North Dakota at Western Michigan. Not only does it matter to maintain a number 1 seed for the tournament, it matters for the Penrose Cup. North Dakota failed to win the games that they needed to last week.
They failed at a lot of things the last few seasons at one point or another. So this is a big one.
So this is a big one. I think it would mean a lot to that team to win the Penrose Cup. I know everybody that has previously played for North Dakota says, "Oh, the Penny Rosa doesn't fucking matter. Like, we kind of throw that thing in the garbage. The only thing that matters is the national title." I don't think that that's true. I think it does matter if you win the NCHC. Western Michigan kind of proved that last year. It certainly means a lot to the integrity of the players, and both of these teams want to win incredibly badly. So I think that that's going to be the tightest game, or the tightest series of any college hockey games the entire weekend here.
I see that one being a 1-1 split for whatever reason. I see both being really good games. They both honestly might go to overtime. I mean, that's going to be a good one. I'm going to be. And they're very reasonable start times. I think a 6 and a 5 p.m. start, which we never hate that. Right.
Yeah, they're in Lawson at Western, so they do play on the Eastern time zone. So you do get a little bit earlier start times for those ones. Which when UMD was playing Ohio last week and they started at 5 and 4 o'clock, I was like blown away that I could be done watching my college hockey games at 6 o'clock and then tune in for everything.
Or you make the mistake I did where it's 7 and I turn on North Dakota and it's like halfway through the second period and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh yeah, they start earlier on Saturdays. That's right.
Yeah.
It throws me off every time, every single time.
Yeah. UMD, I just have to mention them because I'm a homer. They play Colorado College this weekend. They have secured a home playoff series, at least for the first round of the NCHC playoffs. I don't know that they can climb any higher than that 4th spot, just because Denver, Western, and North Dakota are all above them, and I think they're 7 or more points ahead of them. I could be wrong, but that sounds right to me. So unlikely they'll get more than 1 home game after the NCHC tournament starts, unless we get into some other upsets. So they need to win at least one of these games against Colorado College. If they can win one of the games, I think they are locked into a tournament spot. As it stands right now, they're at 99% if they win both, and 67% if they lose both. So they'll be in that 88 to 89% range if they end up getting a split at home against CC this weekend.
All right, nice job, well done.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. I always have to wait. You never know if you're going to throw out the fucking Western Community College region. And
I was going to get into some D3 stuff just to throw you off, but
you would have thrown me off, no doubt. Some of I watch quite a bit of college hockey, so I understand most of it, but sometimes when you get really in the weeds, I feel like, you're talking like about the frat king stuff and the the maxing stuff and bone smashing.
One thing, I think Maryville, which I didn't know was a college that had a hockey program at all, they're officially moving to D1 in 27, 28 is when they're going to start taking full D1 schedule. So,
and while we're on that topic, did I see there was some storyline with Alabama's club team this weekend, or did I get got?
They set an attendance record for something or other. I'd have to look into what it was. I think somebody was making a big deal saying the SEC was coming for hockey. I promise you they're not. Well, I would love to see it expand, but...
And then that bled into some of the shit talk for USA Canada because people were saying Alabama has a bigger GDP than Canada, which is wildly false.
So insanely inaccurate.
Probably started by third-year Letterman on Twitter. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one who started that narrative and people bought it. But All right, let's close out the show with a wild take. Veach, I'll give you while you're still going the opportunity to throw one out.
Okay. The USA will not have to wait another 46 years to get their next gold medal in the Olympics. I think Team USA is going back to back in 2030. This is largely based off of
recency bias.
A little bit of the recency bias. But when I look at the young and upcoming players for Americans versus young and upcoming players for Canadians, I think that it has certainly shifted to the U.S. having the edge there. And a lot of that does have to do with the national team development program and, just exposure to USA hockey and the growth of the game in general. College becoming significantly more popular and a route that people want to stick with and take. I do think that Team USA is looking very, very good. I know we're 4 years out. There's a lot that can change. There's more 19-year-olds that can come up. Follow in the footsteps of Macklin Celebrini and the like. But I do think that the USA goes back to back and wins in 2030.
And I think, too, if you look at the pipeline, I think just the United States puts a heavier emphasis on goaltending. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at the pipeline for young goalies in Canada, like none of them want to be goalies. They all want to be goal scorers. So it's, I think that is going to be a very systemic issue for Canada down the road. And it seems like America, just keeps putting up younger goalies. Spencer Knight, he's American, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a guy I could see, in 5 to maybe like a couple Olympics, maybe not the next one, but I could see him being our guy for a long time. If we're talking the future of it.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll add to that is a lot of these Canadian junior teams have American goalies for basically the exact reason that you're just saying. Yeah. American goalies tend to be a little bit bigger, and they've got more games at the youth level than all of Canadians. Now, if you're in the populated areas of Canada, those youth programs and some of those players who aren't already on, fast tracks, if you will, to a national program team for Canada have plenty of games. But when you get into some of those rural areas where they're struggling to find more competitive teams, the U.S. programs, specifically Minnesota and the Northeast and Michigan, have such developed schedules already that those goalies have just seen so many more pucks that they're developing at a faster rate than some of the Canadian counterparts.
Fuck yeah. Goalies rock. Johns, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll use a cop out here. I will say when it comes to the trade deadline, the Wild will stand pat. They won't make a significant move. And the wild part of this is they're going to overtake the Colorado Avalanche and get the number 1 seed.
Ooh, I like that one. It's doable. I think they're 4 points out of first place. I mean, Colorado has 12 fucking games in hand. Somehow they didn't play as much hockey as anybody else. But I don't hate it. So I think we're starting to... No, do we have him? Or are you just quiet?
I'm there.
Oh, he's just being quiet. I was like, we must have lost him. All right. No, that's good. My wild take is, you know what? Fuck it. The Wild are going to win the Cup. I've gotten a taste of winning 2 times now in the last 2 weeks, and now I don't do anything but I only win. That's all we do anymore. So, why not just ride these coattails with a very similar core for Team USA, both from a a front office level to a coaching level with Heinze, all the way down to a player level and a trainer level. We got winning pedigree in the locker room. So I think we win the cup. Fuck it. And North Dakota wins the national championship. This is going to
okay. Let's
this-
get.
oh,
Let's
yeah,
just
now-
put all
this
of
is
them.
going to be
no,
the best
no,
year
no,
of my
no.
life. This is going to be the year of Jack Leverance. And I'm telling you now, if North Dakota even sniffs the Frozen Four, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to Vegas. And regardless of what happens in that Frozen Four, I'm going to have a night like they had at 11. I'm going to be like Brock Faber. I'm going to purposely wear my glasses, and I'm going to wear them upside down and give out
Yeah,
zins
I
to
will be
everyone in the
excited
club.
for you.
And you'll be like, why are you here, dude? Like, North Dakota's not even in the Frozen Four. I'm like, well, I've just had this pent-up, desire to party since witnessing them do it 2 months ago in Miami.
And luckily for you, you won't be the only North Dakota fan doing that. Though.
So I'm obviously in this large community of North Dakota fans on Twitter, and so many of them have bought Frozen Four tickets, which, you know what? I think even if you don't have a team in it, it's just a good reason to go to Vegas. Am I right? Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
T-Mobile Arena is an awesome barn. I've been there 5 times now, I think. Like, I could use a good excuse to go back.
The one problem I have with Vegas and the Frozen Four, it's going to be a great venue. I think it's going to be, significantly better than some of the other places that it's been in the past. Vegas is so coded to the basketball tournament that's going on at the same time that it's going to be really tough to get it on the biggest of screens. Like, you're going to be stuffed on some ancillary, third or fourth TV on the right, trying to watch the biggest game of your life with everybody else who couldn't care less.
Well, but isn't the national championship in basketball? I think they match up so that there shouldn't be any competing sports that weekend, other than maybe NHL playoffs start around the same time. Because
Maybe
I know
I've
for
got
a
my
fact,
basketball wrong.
like the 64 teams in like March Madness, like that Thursday is a month before the Frozen Four.
Yes.
I
But
think
I thought they had a week off. Is the Frozen Four a week after the national championship for basketball? That would be better.
Yeah, all I know is
the
they never
preliminary
really
rounds at the same time.
they never really compete, and that's obviously by design.
Okay, because I know the preliminary rounds are on at the same time. Because whenever I go to a bar or Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever, like they've got 64 TVs
Right.
and I can't get one with hockey on it.
Yeah, specifically, I think for Frozen 4, we should be safe in Vegas.
Okay,
But
okay.
it's Vegas. There's probably going to be people betting on that fucking cheese running thing they do in Germany where everyone runs down a hill and chases a wheel of cheese. People will probably be
Fair
betting on
enough.
that too. So,
Fair point.
all right. Well, that's all we got, folks, for this edition of Wild Wednesday of 10K TV. Make sure to buy these hats, by the way. I think there's only like 10 of them left. Make sure to drink Captain's Patch at the G-Spot. The Wild are back. The Frost are coming back. And Section 105, 115, C13. Also, we got a ton of awesome USA merch on our website. Unlike Nike, we actually stocked our website full of merchandise, thinking that we were going to win that game because we were confident. So support us, 10ktakesmn.com. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to another edition of Wild Wednesday here on 10K.